to the Grayson Wool podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Stevens. It is Sunday. What is it? February 23rd, I think. Anyways, I'm coming to you from Spokane, Washington. It's where I live. And I raise my family and I go to work. There are dogs barking outside. This is the third time I've attempted to record this. Oh well. Anyways, we're just gonna forget about it. We're just gonna go with it. At this point, I mean, if I keep restarting, I feel like I'm just never gonna get this this video out there. So anyways, see my dog's nose. Cooper, no. Anyways, okay, so welcome to my little space. Today, we're gonna talk about a lot of things. What I've been doing, what I've been up to for these last couple weeks. I think it's been 3 since I last was able to record a podcast. In addition to that, we're gonna talk about what I've been working on, which has not been a whole heck of a lot. I did get some socks going, and I did work on my crochet blanket a little bit, but that's kind of it. And then at the end of the video, I kind of want to go over my views, my thoughts on what's been going on in our knitting community, and I want to take some time to share with you a couple stories, really. So anyways, grab a cup of coffee or tea, or today I'm drinking just some soda water. It's like this cucumber mint one. It's kind of my favorite. Doesn't really matter the brand. I think they kind of all, kind of taste the same. So anyways, yeah, okay, so what have I been doing? It's been about 3 weeks since I had a chance to last record, and we went to Vancouver, Washington, for cheerleading state, which was a lot of fun. The girls did great. This is the second year that the high school has ever done competition cheer, and so the second time ever going to state. I don't remember what they placed. This year they took 2 routines. Last year they took 1. I think they placed 7th last year, and this year I want to say it was like 4th. So they did a really, really good job. That was a lot of fun. And then Vanessa, we came home for just a couple days, and then after that Vanessa just whisked away to California for cheer nationals in Anaheim, and she had a blast. They did not make it to the finals, but they had never done it before, so the experience alone was pretty incredible. I did not get to go to that trip. I did not go on that trip this year. I have lots of intentions to go on the trip next year, though. Fingers crossed. But they had so much fun. She went to Disneyland for the very first time, and Caitlin, Ethan, my husband, and I had just lived vicariously through all of her posts and text updates. So that was a lot of fun. And then this weekend we had soccer. It's soccer is not over yet. Yesterday was beautiful, and then at that game, and then today it was not beautiful. In fact, I was the only one who went to the game today because was raining, sleeting, hailing. The wind was blowing everything sideways. It was miserable, and we were at Spokane Falls Community College, and there's like no shelter. So I had like my little umbrella, my big umbrella, and I was just holding it down, like shielding as the rain was going sideways most of the time. So then I came home and made dinner, and now we're just getting ready, getting ready for the week. So anyways, that's kind of what we've been up to. We leave on Friday to drive over to Seattle and do more soccer, and then visit some really old dear friends of ours, and so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so I have been doing, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Clean Mama cleaning routine. She has like a blog. We've been doing that every single day for a while now. I did take a break a couple times, and it gets really overwhelming, but I've noticed that as long as I stay on doing that, stay on top of it, it actually makes my week cleaning habits, my week cleaning schedule just so much easier, and my house feels clean. So we still have some chores to get done today that we didn't, this is supposed to be a rest day, but we didn't get them done yesterday because of soccer and all the running around that we were trying to get done. So after I get done podcasting, I do plan to spend at least a good 45 minutes knocking the rest of those things out. So I'm gonna try and keep this, as always, pretty short and sweet anyways. So with that said, I have a helper down here. Like, you can't see him, but he is craving attention and like will not leave my side. He's our newest member of our family. His name's Cooper. I will insert a picture at the end, so you can see what he looks like. But I figure let's go ahead and move on, and I'll show you a little bit about what I've been working on, what has taken up most of my time anyways. This is a really old Suburban Stitcher bag. Back when Diane was still making bags, it has this cute like sewing fabric on the inside. My favorite part is this, how the handle disconnects. I love it. So if you remember if you were around the last podcast, I was like, these socks that I've been working on of my own design, and then those ones were not my design. This is what happens when you have too many things running through your head and you're trying to do too many things. Anyways, they were actually Tabitha Gandy's sock pattern, and it's the Waiting for Henry socks, and I lost them forever and a year, and like over a year, and I couldn't find them. And then when I found them, I picked them back up and started working on them, and my gauge was so off. So then one day I went to work, I think, and I left them sitting on my chair. And I forget, with our new puppy, he likes to eat everything. And he made the choice for me to rip them out because he ate through the whole toe of one of them. So I could have just ripped it out and reknit that toe, but honestly, I felt like it was just a sign that I just needed to get rid of them, and so I did. I just ripped them both out completely, unpicked the one sock, ripped out all the color work, and then I cast on to just another basic ribbed sock, and I've gotten through the heel now, and I'm just working on the gusset decreases. I love this colorway. It is a Woolen Boon skein of yarn. It's I want to say an 80/20. It didn't have a tag. I am notorious for losing the tags, and so it doesn't have a tag, but it's gorgeous. So if you happen to know what the colorway is, I would love to know. I would love, honestly, I would love a sweater out of this. So I am knitting them cuff down. Obviously, I'm using my 2.0 millimeter DPNs. These are the Knitter's Pride Carbons. I love these needles. They have like this little extra grip on them, and so I don't know, I think they're my preferred DPNs of choice, honestly. So I've really been working on those on my lunch break at work. I've been really busy, and I kind of lost my knitting mojo for a bit, where even at work I really wasn't in the mood to knit. I've just had so much going on in my head. We'll get into that, but I haven't really had the desire to work on them a whole lot, but each day I do try and put on like 1 or 2 rows. So am I gonna show you these? Oh, no, there's nothing to show. It's just more ripped out socks. My friend Sarah Mahan, she designed a new pair of socks, and they're called the Apatite socks. It's like a gem reference, like a jewel, like a mining thing. And I did find this yarn, and I've got a second, like a ball. You can tell I tried to use it for something else, but this is another Woolen Boon, and I plan to knit, like, cast those on. I was supposed to do that like forever and ever and ever ago, and I just never did. And so as soon as these get done, I'm going to do that. Oh, and I was gonna show you these, but I think I just showed these last time, so there's been no progress on those guys, so I'm not even gonna bother with it. Okay, let's see. The thing that has been taking a majority of my time, though, has been my crochet granny stripe blanket. And I'm like in the middle of course I am, in the middle of a row. But that's okay. I'm just gonna pull this out really quick, forgive me, so I can show you. So I had some pretty unfortunate news with this. It was another one of those projects that I left sitting on my chair, and my dog, my new puppy, ate a corner, and I like terribly patched it. Look at this, isn't that awful? I'm pretty sure things are gonna come apart. And he didn't just do it in one area, like he did it over on this corner too. I haven't woven in the ends on this one, but I wish I knew how to fix crochet like I know how to fix knitting, but I had no idea. So I just tried to pick up as many stitches as I possibly could. And like I said, like it's still just a mess. Like I'm pretty sure when I block this, things are just gonna go everywhere. So if you have advice on how to actually fix something like that, even if it's like how to rip out like from down below and go all the way across, like I would willingly do that. I'm pretty sure I could still use most of the yarn down there. Just let me know, especially if you can find like a YouTube video or something that I could reference. That'd be great. But with that said, I did get quite a bit of progress. So the last time I showed you this, I was on this color down here, this like neutral color, and I got this green and this aqua and a light pink and this light purple and this gray, and now I've just started working with this scrap. Truthfully, it looks like a spun right round skein to me. It's working up really nicely up at the top. So I'm loving this. It's such a nice brainless evening activity. Truthfully, I plan to work on it again tonight. The kids and I have been watching this TV series. It's called Just Add Magic. It's on Amazon Prime. And gosh, I think we started watching that 3 or 4 years ago. And like each year the new season comes out and we get so excited and we watch it like over the course of a weekend. So it's a cute little show. I just realized I never even addressed like what I'm wearing. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. This is the I don't remember. I don't remember. It'll come to me. And then you're screaming at me right now. You're screaming at the camera going, it's this. But oh well. I knit it out of my own yarn on the top. It's the Hogsmeade colorway. And then this beautiful like speckly brown is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Whiskey Barrel colorway. And I just have, there we go, I just have like a nude colored tank top underneath so that way I can wear that I can wear with it, and I love it. I love it so much. It's one of my warmer sweaters. I like how thin and light and airy single ply sweaters are. The very first one that I ever knit that was a single ply was what was it? It was a Hannah Fettig cardigan. It was like the Whisper cardigan or something like that. Anyways, I did it for a Camp Loopy summer. Actually, that was my very first sweater ever, and it was knit out of a lace weight, but it was a single ply and it was beautiful. And somewhere down the road I either gifted it or I lost it. So that's all I've been working on, you guys. I think that's all I'm going to continue to work on. I did kind of sit down and write out some of my goals for this year for knitting, and I just really want to be more intentional about what I'm working on. So I do want to knit a couple sweaters that are like good every day will go with a lot of things in my wardrobe, because a lot of the sweaters that I have knit over the last couple years are not like staple pieces. They're more statement pieces. And so I really want to knit some more staples. So yeah, that's all I've been working on. So this next part, we're about 20 minutes in. I did want to talk to you. I want to tell you a couple stories. And then I just really wanted to touch base, I guess, on my views. So if you're not interested, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. But if you are interested, let's chat. So I am going to start off saying, I know that my views are not going to be the same as everyone's. And what an amazing thing it is that we all don't have the same views. I think having those diverse views is what makes our community and the world a better place. How boring would it be if all of us thought the same? Second, I do realize that what I'm about to talk about has been a highly controversial topic. So I realize that I probably will lose as followers. But truthfully, I'm getting older, you guys, and at the end of the day, I feel like if I can't be honest, and if I can't say exactly how I'm feeling in the group of people that I'm around, then maybe that's not the right group of people for me. I don't think that anyone should have to feel as though they can't say what they're really feeling. So I do ask that if we are going to be having hard conversations down below, that you please respect everyone's voice. Give them that time to say what they're wanting to say, and if you disagree, that's okay. That's okay for you to disagree. We don't all have to have the same beliefs, the same thoughts, the same ideas. I just ask that if you do disagree with them and you have nothing nice to say about it, then politely just don't say anything at all. There is a kind way to say things, and then there's a not so kind way. So I'm just asking you, before you respond to even me or anybody else, take 2 seconds and think about how you're responding and what your intention is behind it. So here we are. For the last 2 years, there has been quite the conversation happening within our knitting community. And just so you guys know, I'm not good with words. I can't even remember the name of this sweater. So I guarantee I'm going to use some of the wrong words. I guarantee I'm going to say some things incorrectly. It's gonna happen. But anyways, I tried last night actually to like post on Instagram how I was feeling. It was in the middle of the night, and it's kind of something that had just been driving me crazy, that I hadn't come forward with how I was feeling, and I tried to, and it's like Instagram only lets you say so much, and then you have to continue it on in the comments, and then like the comment section is only so many characters long, and so then you have to make another comment, another one, and it was all getting rearranged, so I deleted that this morning because I tried to go back and read it. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. So we're gonna start here. But anyways, there have been a lot of conversations happening involving racism within not just our knitting community, it's kind of everywhere, but specifically that's kind of where the platforms have been taking place that I've noticed the majority of, because I spend a lot of my time with knitters, and so there's been a lot of conversations happening. Sometimes those conversations are one-sided conversations, and sometimes those conversations are actual conversations. And anyways, I haven't been all too pleased with the manner in which some of these conversations have been happening. So I'm going to pause there, and I want to tell you a story. I actually want to tell you two stories and then go back to where I just paused. I want to talk to you guys really briefly about my own personal experience with racism. I'm a white woman with gray hair. But my family was born in the South, Danville, Louisville, Kentucky, and in Pennsylvania, Lancaster. And that would be my dad and my aunt and my uncle and my grandma at the time. My grandma had just gone through a divorce, and she was Catholic, and at that time, if you went through a divorce when you were Catholic, then you got like kicked out of the church. But he was a very abusive man, raging alcoholic. Anyways, so she lived by herself with 3 kids, and she lived in one of the poorest parts of town. It also happened to be a predominantly black neighborhood. And she, over a few years, some of these people, her neighbors, became family. The color of their skin didn't matter. They went to church together. They helped each other out with each other's kids. With the washing, they used to have one of those old, like, their washer was on their porch. And anyways, it was just a different time. My grandma used to joke about how on Sundays everybody would line all the kids up because they knew somebody had done something wrong through the week, and so line them all up, the neighbor kids and everybody. It's just different. Anyways, she met my grandpa, they got married, and he didn't legally adopt my dad and my aunt and my uncle, but he was their dad, and they moved up here, and my grandma kept in touch with all of these amazing people that she had collected through her life. she would tell stories about them and about just her life in Danville, and sometimes as I got older, I got to talk to some of them on the phone because they would keep in touch and write letters. So growing up, I didn't really think anything was different with people of different skin colors. So I went, fast forward many years later, and I'm 17, and I went to go visit my mom in Florida. Now, growing up, I was raised by my dad, single dad, and my grandparents. They either lived next door to us or with us my whole life. So, I had a pretty amazing childhood that way. Fast forward to when I'm 17 and I go to visit my mom in Florida, and I had my very first experience with outright racism. It was scary. It's my Roomba. He's stuck. His name's Jarvis, and he's stuck under the couch. We're just gonna ignore it. Anyways, went down to Florida, and we spent the day riding the Harleys around and going to different restaurants and places, pubs, things like that. We went to this one, and it had this outdoor patio, and I had gone inside and I was talking with the bartender because I wanted to get another diet soda, and the bartender was asking me, he's like, "You don't sound like you're from here." And I said, "Nope, I'm actually from Washington State." And he visiting my mom, and he's like, "Oh my gosh." He's like, "I just graduated last year from WSU." And we were floored. We talked for a good solid 20 minutes about the differences between living in Florida and how much he missed Washington, but he still really liked Florida. And I thought absolutely nothing wrong with me speaking to him, and other people that we were with noticed. They took notice of the fact that I was being so friendly with a black man. So we left that place and we went to another place. This one was like a pub dive place, and we went to go play pool. One of the guys that we were with, it was a regular hangout place for him, and we were playing pool and having a good time, and I was sitting at the table across from my mom, and we were just talking while everybody else was doing our thing. And there weren't very many people in there, and one of the guys that we had been traveling with was the one that took notice of who I was talking with beforehand, and he picked up a clear giant glass ashtray, and he threw it across the room. He had intended for it to hit me. He was so mad at me. He hated that I was talking to somebody of a different color, skin. It just really, he was so angry. And but he missed me, and he hit my mom, and it split her lip. She still has a scar. Split her lip right here, and immediately Blood was going everywhere, and the bouncer and the bartender whisked my mom and I up and took us into the bathroom, and there was like this hidden doorway, and it led to the outside. It was like this secret room kind of a thing, and we jumped on the bikes, and we went to the hospital, and after a ton of stitches, she got to go home. I will never forget that day. I will never forget how oblivious I was to the fact that racism still exists. I will also never forget how that made me feel. How somebody was willing to hurt someone else because they felt so strongly about their own views, whether they were right or wrong. Someone was so willing to hurt somebody else. So I took note of that. Racism, and it's not always just about skin color. I mean, and it's not always projected from one group of people to a completely different. I mean, it's not just white people being racist towards black people or towards Hispanic people or Jewish people, or to, it's not as simple as that. This act of violence was from one person's view of being so much hatred for somebody of a different color of skin that he was willing to hurt somebody else, like to justify it or something. I see that happening in our knitting community. People are hurting people, verbally hurting people, right? It's just terrible, and in the name of what they are trying to fight against, right? Hate, it only breeds hate. Nothing good can come of it. When people come at things with ill intention in their heart, nothing good is going to come of it. Story number 2. I was told this story, actually. There's a Numa video. It's from a gentleman named Rob Bell. Now, this video is meant to talk about Christianity, but I'm gonna talk about it in a slightly different way. This Numa video that Rob Bell does, it's called Bullhorn Guy, and it talks about this guy. We've all seen this guy, right? He believes without a doubt that he has this big news about how we need to repent our sins, and the end of the world is coming. And if we don't do these things, right? If we don't accept Christ into our heart, then we're gonna go to hell. The end of the world will come, and we won't be where we should be, right? Where we would want to be. We're gonna be left behind. And he has this need, this overwhelming desire and sense of urgency to get this information out, because this information is so incredibly important to him. He wants everybody to know. And so he sets up on the corner of the streets and this giant megaphone, and he's screaming at people, telling them all of the bad things that could happen, right? Listen to me, or you're going to go to hell. All of this, and everybody's just walking by, because no one wants to be yelled at. No one wants to be ridiculed. No one is going to actually listen and consider what you're saying if everything that's coming out of your mouth, whether you meant for it to be a good thing, if everything that's coming out of your mouth is completely negative, no one is going to listen. And I feel like that's happening also. Instead of having conversations, there are a good number of people who are ready with their bullhorns, and they're going to scream at the top of their lungs about how everybody else, if they are not doing these things, are wrong. How if they are not following everything that these people want them to follow or view, then they're the bad guy. But they take it a step farther. And not only do they stand up on their box and let everybody know how terrible they are if they aren't doing or saying or reading or being exactly how they think that they should be. They threaten to hurt them, whether it be their business. They tell other people to not follow them, to not buy their yarn or their patterns, and they bully and they intimidate. And so whereas this topic could have had a good outcome if a conversation was actually being had, it's no longer. So, like I said, I know that I'm not saying this nearly as eloquently as most people. I just want to ask, for those of you who are listening, think about it. Are you wanting to have real conversations, or are you being like Bullhorn Guy? Is your anger towards what's happening right now affecting you so much that you're willing to hurt other people so you can be heard? Are you willing to do those things? And if you are, then I feel like it's about time that everybody maybe takes a step back and reevaluates what they're trying to achieve here. If it's a real conversation, let's have a real conversation. We don't need to use bullying or scare tactics or intimidation, yelling from a bullhorn, or throwing cigarette ashtrays across the room. We can sit down and have a conversation. And maybe when we start to meet each other where we're at, where they're at, and walk alongside of each other, real positive changes will start to happen. Maybe if we ask ourselves the really hard questions before we say anything, like, what is my intention? Do I hope to cause pain, or do I hope to build someone up? Am I speaking truth? I don't know. You know, it's just some thought. It's for some heavy thoughts, I guess, for this Sunday night. So that's where I'm at. My friend and I were talking about not letting people who are bullhorn guys have free rent in our space, right? I do want to meet you where you're at. I do want to come alongside of you, understand where you're coming from, but I also want you to do that with me too. So there we are. I've seen too many people get hurt already, and I wonder at what point do we start to really make a change, or are we just going to continue this cycle? I don't know. Anyways, like I said, I'm pretty confident I didn't say any of that the right way. And if I have said anything that has resonated wrong with you, let's talk about it. My son is saving Jarvis and taking him home. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. I'm not gonna know all the answers. I guarantee I won't know all the right things to say. But I guarantee that the more good conversations that we have, the more conversations where we are willing to come alongside of each other and meet each other where we're at, the better these outcomes are going to be. So anyways, I will not be podcasting next weekend because we'll be in Seattle. I'm not going to be on here again until the following weekend. I'm going to do my best to podcast then. I'm hoping that then I have a lot more knitting content to show you. I do have a long road trip ahead of me next weekend. Maybe I can get some more sweater knitting. I still need to finish my Guthrie by Caitlin Hunter and my Swancho Neil check. It's also by Caitlin Hunter. So okay, not even gonna watch this back. I'm just gonna press record. So I hope you all have a wonderful next couple weeks until we meet again, if you choose to meet me here again. And until next time, happy knitting, guys. Bye.